Dad's anniversary. Mom, Dad's anniversary was approaching, but this time I had a surprise for them. Mom, Dad always work hard to make our special days more special. So this year I thought of making his special day a little more special. Their anniversary was on the weekend, and Mom and Dad had a lot of time traveling in the mountains. The idea was that only me and my younger brother Charlie knew our destination. For the parents, it was all a surprise. So in morning, I went on a family trip with Mom and Dad, and Charlie I had put the location on my mobile, and Dad was driving. I used to tell them the way my father was driving on that road. Mom and Dad tried a lot, but I didn't reveal my location. After a 6-hour drive, we were in the mountains. We were all playing our favorite songs, enjoying in the car, when a tunnel crossing came in front of us. And as soon as our car reached near that tunnel, something happened that shook everyone's heart. Large stones fell right in front of our car from the top of the mountain. Dad applied the brakes loudly. We were with people that day. It could have been a very bad accident, but our lives were saved. After that incident, the whole plan was spoiled. We all just wanted to go home. Dad put the car on the side for a while and then started going back to California from our decided location. On my way back to the same road, I saw a sign, Los Angeles, 200 kilometers. Then some 15 minutes later, I saw that sign again. Los Angeles, 280 kilometers. I thought I might have made a mistake in reading, but after a while, I saw the sign again for the third time. Los Angeles, 280 kilometers. We were walking along the road, but the people of Los were not reducing the kilometers on that sign. I asked my father to stop the car. I tried to convince him, but no one believed me. Everyone was already in a bad mood, so Dad silenced me and started driving. After going a short distance, we saw that a very old woman was sitting on the road selling oranges. Charlie loved to eat oranges, so we stopped and bought some oranges from that woman and sat in the car. Dad was driving, but soon something happened, and that as a result, we saw the same woman selling oranges again. We didn't understand how this was possible. We were walking on a straight road, so how could we see that woman again? Then I checked the maps on my phone, and according to the maps, our car was standing at the same place. We thought maybe there was a network issue on that road, but it seemed very strange to all of us. Dad stopped the car and got down and looked around. Then suddenly a man knocked on the glass of our car. We were scared, but I opened the window of the car and saw it. I asked the man who he was. The man smiled and said to me, "You guys are going to California. This path goes to the mountains. You take Los Angeles." Saying this, the man left the place. Dad did exactly as the man said, but then after 15 minutes we were back in the same place. My father stopped the car. Now, everyone's condition had become very bad. And then, again, someone rang the glass of our car. We got goosebumps when we saw that there was the same man outside the car again, who had just given us a while ago. He told me the way. Dad got out of the car in anger. The man smiled again and said, "You guys are going to California. This road leads to the mountain. You take Los Angeles." My father was angry, but before he could do anything, the man disappeared in front of Dad's eyes. Dad, and we all had tears in our eyes. He ran back into the car and drove the car a little further at high speed. We were coming back to whatever direction we were going in. We didn't know how to get out of this mess. We still saw the old woman again and again. Dad dared to drive to the old woman and got out of the car and went to ask the old woman about that route. We all followed my dad. As soon as Dad tried to talk to that woman, the woman who was selling us oranges, laughing and laughing, was now looking down in silence. Dad's called her many times, but she did not answer. Then Dad put his hand on the woman's shoulder, and suddenly the woman looked at Dad in shock. After that, we have not seen what we have seen till date. We have not forgotten. Half of that woman's jaw was missing, and blood was dripping from her left mouth. Dad shouted and asked us to sit inside the car and drove fast. Seeing that woman, Dad's condition had become so bad that after going a few miles, Dad lost control of the car, and our car collided with a tree. When I opened my eyes, we were all sitting inside the car. Our car was parked in front of the same tunnel, where big stones had fallen. But now there was nothing in front of that tunnel. Neither we nor our car had a scratch. We all felt that maybe whatever had happened to us was not reality. But just then, Mom noticed a bag full of rotten oranges lying near her seat. We immediately threw those oranges out of the vehicle and somehow headed towards Los Angeles. We got back home safely, but the fear of that day is still in the minds of all of us. What happened to us and why it happened, we still do not understand. Creepy anniversary dinner. In a small remote cabin nestled deep within a dense, eerie forest, Lai and David were celebrating their 10th wedding anniversary. They had always been drawn to the macabre and the mysterious, and this secluded cabin seemed like the perfect place to escape the world and revel in their shared love for all things eerie. The night of their anniversary was stormy, with rain pelting against the cabin's windows and thunder rumbling ominously in the distance. Lai and David had just finished a delicious candlelit dinner when the power suddenly went out, plunging the cabin into darkness. "I'll go check the circuit breaker," David said, grabbing a flashlight from a nearby drawer. "You stay here and keep the candles lit." Lai nodded and watched as her husband disappeared into the pitch-black corridor. As she lit the candles on the dining table, she couldn't help but feel a growing sense of unease. The cabin had always given her the creeps, but tonight, with the storm raging outside, it felt even more unsettling. Minutes turned into an hour, and David still hadn't returned. Lai's anxiety was mounting. She decided to venture into the corridor to find him. The only sound was the rain drumming on the roof, and the only light was the flickering candles. "David," she called out, her voice quivering. No response. As she moved deeper into the cabin, she noticed strange, shadowy figures dancing at the edges of her vision. She dismissed them as tricks of the flickering candlelight and continued her search for David. The cabin seemed to stretch and warp around her, with doors leading to rooms she didn't remember being there. Finally, she reached the bedroom. The sight that greeted her froze her blood. There, lying on the bed, was David, his body cold and lifeless. His eyes stared vacantly at the ceiling, and his skin had taken on a ghostly pallor. He had a deep crimson gash across his throat. Lai screamed and stumbled back, tripping over something in the darkness. She fell to the floor, her heart pounding in her chest. The shadowy figures she had seen earlier were no longer just tricks of the light. They were all around her, whispering incoherent, sinister words. Terrified, she crawled away from the bedroom and into the living room, where she grabbed her cell phone to call for help. But the phone had no signal, and she was trapped in this nightmarish cabin with her dead husband and the malevolent shadows that seemed to be closing in on her. Desperation and fear consumed her as she realized that there was no escape from this nightmare. The storm outside continued to rage, masking her screams and cries for help. As the shadows closed in, Lai's mind began to unravel, and she knew that she and David would never celebrate another anniversary together, dead or alive. The cabin in the woods had claimed them both, its secrets and horrors forever hidden within its dark walls. Anniversary. Once upon a time, in the quiet town of Last Point, California, there was a legend that sent shivers down the spines of its residents. It all began on a fateful night, on the eve of an anniversary party that would never be forgotten. The town had a dark history, with rumors of a cursed mansion that stood on a hill overlooking Last Point. The mansion was said to have belonged to a wealthy family who mysteriously disappeared on the night of their anniversary party decades ago. Since then, the mansion had remained vacant, a chilling reminder of the past. As the anniversary party approached, a group of adventurous friends decided to test the legends. They had heard countless stories about the mansion's hauntings and wanted to experience it for themselves. Armed with flashlights and a sense of excitement, they ventured to the old mansion one gloomy evening. The mansion was shrouded in darkness as they approached. The wind howled, and the trees seemed to whisper secrets of the past, The group cautiously entered the mansion, their footsteps echoing in the eerie silence. They couldn't shake the feeling that they were being watched. Instead, they found themselves surrounded by decaying furniture and faded photographs. The air was cold and filled with a musty odor that made it difficult to breathe. The friends explored room after room, their flashlights revealing glimpses of a tragic history through dusty portraits and torn love letters. As they delved deeper into the mansion, strange things began to happen. Doors slammed shut on their own, and whispers echoed through the empty hallways. Shadows danced in the corners of their vision, and a sense of dread settled over them. But they pressed on, determined to uncover the truth. In the grand ballroom, they stumbled upon a dusty old piano. Without warning, the piano keys started to play a haunting melody, their fingers nowhere near the keys. The room seemed to come alive with ghostly apparitions of the family who had once lived there, trapped in a never-ending anniversary celebration. The family's joy had turned to despair, and their faces were etched with sorrow. Terrified, the friends tried to flee the mansion, but the doors wouldn't budge. The walls seemed to close in on them as the ghostly figures drew nearer. It was as if the mansion itself refused to let them escape. In a desperate bid for freedom, they stumbled upon a hidden passage that led them to the basement. There, they discovered a journal belonging to the mansion's former owner. The journal revealed the tragic truth. The family had made a dark pact in exchange for wealth and happiness, and the mansion had become a prison for their souls. With the journal in hand, they performed a ritual to break the curse, and as they did, the mansion shook with fury. The ghostly apparitions wailed and faded away, and the doors swung open, allowing the friends to escape. As they stood outside, gasping for breath and covered in dust, they realized that they had uncovered the secrets of Last Point's cursed mansion. The anniversary party incident would forever be etched in their memories as a terrifying tale of a cursed family and the haunted mansion that had held them captive for eternity. To this day, the mansion in Last Point, California, remains abandoned, a chilling reminder of the night when an anniversary party turned into a nightmare of supernatural horrors. And the legend of the cursed family and their tragic fate continues to haunt the town, passed down through generations as a warning to those who dare to tread too close to the darkness that lurks in the shadows of Last Point.